And so why do we print things? Well, if I want to take a piece of information with me, I hope I've got it on my mobile phone, so I don't need to print it, as long as I've got my mobile phone. I find lately, I don't know if you can see, I'll try and, there's my printer there. Can you see it at the end of my pen? It's a £150 laser printer. And I use it from time to time, particularly if I want to read something that I want to make notes on. It's very good for making notes to print things on. And if you're sort of reading it many times, you want to print it out. But I find myself using my scanner about as often as I use my printer. And earlier today, I had this interesting thought. What's the opposite of a printer? Well, one opposite of a printer is a shredder. A printer puts information on the paper. A shredder destroys the information on the paper. Another thing is something that you feed in a sheet of paper that's got printing on it, and it removes the ink, and you get a clean sheet of paper coming out. That's the sort of recycling machine. And then there's another one, which is the scanner. The scanner is the opposite of a printer. A printer takes digital information and puts it on paper. A scanner takes information on paper and turns it into a digital form. Now, this month's tech conference, there's a meeting. One of the people behind MathPix is talking. MathPix is a OCR for mathematics. It has elements of artificial intelligence, machine learning in it. It seems to do rather better than the previous top runner, which is Infinity Reader. And I've heard people speak highly of it. I've tried it myself with handwritten mathematics. My handwriting mathematics isn't particularly good, and I've got mixed results. I think that if I got good results out of it, I would let it train me on how to write. So I could write mathematics and it could read them and turn them into standard LaTeX. I went to an online seminar where the person had handwritten notes which really were very good, and I reckon that MathPix would do really well on that. So one of the things that might very well happen in the next 50 years is that people learn how to write properly so that their mathematics can be OCR'd. And then once it's been OCR'd, it can be typeset. And if there's errors, then you can fix the errors. Imagine what it would be like is if you could print out your mathematics and then handwrite onto it the corrections you wish to make. So you don't correct the text source, you simply correct the printed output with a pen using colored ink. And it says, oh, he wants to delete this delta and turn it into an alpha. I'll do that for you. So in fact, that's going back to the old days of markup, isn't it? Where you have your manuscript, which is sort of typed up, and then you put the markup, which is the special codes. So where's the future of print? Well, it certainly does have a future. Where's the future of steam locomotives? Where's the future of steam locomotives? Well, in large parts of the world, they don't have a future. They've gone a long time ago. And with global warming, then electricity is going to become more important as a motive power. But the future of steam locomotive lies in the fact that it's a locomotive. It pulls a train. And so you can have diesel locomotives and electrical locomotives. So the important thing about tech in a number of ways is the structured content that is typeset. And previously we talked about different ways of looking at Maxwell's equations. And in quantum physics, you have matrix equations and wave equations, and the two formulations are equivalent. And in quantum mechanics more generally, you have John Bell's work, which says you'll never be able to write a local realistic theory of physics because there are experiments that are incompatible with local realism, even though that's the sort of thinker that Einstein was. Einstein says local realism is the thing. Anything else is a spooky action at a distance. Well, I exaggerate. So John Bell said, well, you can have a local theory, but it won't be realistic. It will have features in it, in the theory, that have got no physical correlates. Whereas Einstein's view was, well, the moon exists whether somebody is looking at it or not. That's realism. Or you can have a realistic theory, but it won't be local. You'll have spooky actions at a distance. So having these multiple points of view is actually really important. And perhaps what we might be thinking of in the 21st century is that typesetting is one rendering of a document. And when you think about it, if you have a bottle of medicine, in this country anyway, or even a packet of paracetamol, you'll find that there's printing on it, and you'll find also that there's braille on it, so that a blind person can identify the packet. And typesetting, which is our dominating force and our obsession and so forth, is very much a visual medium. And so by definition, it has very little to do with a blind person. It's about as useful as a bicycle is to a fish. But the information content is really important. So typesetting is one way of dealing with information content. And HTML is another way of dealing with information content. And Braille is a third way, and audio is another way. So I would say that one of the big features of the 21st century is alternative renderings of information content.